Well, hello everyone. Thought I'd do another vlog. It's been a while since the last one, so I thought I'd give you a quick update on what's going on. This time mostly orientated towards the night sky. I'm standing in the garage at the minute, excuse the mess behind me, nowhere to hang everything. This is my Meade 8-inch LX10 Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope. I've had this for probably 20 years or more. Out of all the telescopes I've owned over the years, right up to 16-inch aperture, this is the only one I actually have still in my possession to this day, and I still observe with it regularly. It's a great telescope. I thought, have a look at the front. Considering this is 20 years old, I don't know if you can see it pretty well, but the corrector plate's in pretty good condition. Quite clean. I've given it clean before, but this is a Schmidt-Cassegrain designed telescope. That means it's a folded optical design. What do I mean by that? Well, there's different types of telescopes. There's a refracting telescope. That's the kind of telescope, the traditional type that you're all familiar with the long tube. That's a refractor. It's made from lenses. You also have a Newtonian reflector, a reflecting telescope made from mirrors. And you have designs like this, which is actually a combination of mirrors and lenses. And this is actually a folded optical system. What happens is the starlight comes in through the corrector plate here. It enters the telescope, hits a mirror at the back of the telescope. The light is redirected up to this central obstruction, and behind this obstruction is a reflective, there's another mirror, and the light gets reflected back down the tube again, goes through the eyepiece and up into your eye. So it gets folded several times, so you actually get a long focal length telescope and a compact body. So it's a bit more manageable, you know, for moving around or in an observatory. You have to carry it with vehicles. But anyway, the whole point of this is, I'll just inform you, if you haven't already known, if you're a fan of astronomy, you'll know this already, but if you haven't, then there's a new comet on the way called Comet 2019 Y4 Atlas. This comet is actually creating a lot of excitement within the astronomical community, and particularly in the comet community, and I'm one of those guys who's very excited. This comet is much brighter than it should be. As a matter of fact, now experienced observers around the world are picking the comet up somewhere in the order of 8th to 9th magnitude. What does that mean? Well, the comet shouldn't even be anywhere near that bright. It should be 11th magnitude or fainter at this point in time, so it's many-fold increase in brightness. What makes this comet interesting is it's actually related to, if not a fragment of, one of the great comets of the 1800s. And this comet follows that exact orbit. It may be the actual fragment of the larger body itself, and if that's the case, we might get a nice bright comet this spring. Excuse me. At the moment, the comet is visible in Ursa Major, very well placed in the northern hemisphere, not far from twin galaxies Messier 81 and 82. That part of the sky is actually nearly at the zenith, lit on in the evening sky from here. I've actually observed the comet last week. I could see it through this instrument from my hometown of Macara. To me, it looked like a smudge of light, quite diffuse around the edges, possibly DC2. But even since I made that observation, the comet has brightened again. It's got a condensation. CCD images from professional and amateur astronomers all over the world are picking up a condensation at the centre. They're picking up a dust tail and an ion tail and the cyanogen gas green coma. The coma is getting larger every day. It's perhaps 10 arc minutes in diameter, and the comet is brightening fast. It's approaching that 8th magnitude range, far brighter than it should be. So here's the interesting part. If this comet doesn't shut down, if its rate of brightening doesn't slow down, the comet might become bright. I'm expecting it to be well, it technically is a binocular object right now to experienced observers again. There are persons who have observed it in 80mm binoculars, and I know two people in particular who are very experienced. They picked it up in 10x50s, just about, from dark locations. So it technically is a binocular object. By the time we get into April, we're hoping this comet will be brighter again. It reaches perihelion passage, its closest point to the Sun, in late May, by which time, in normal conditions or normal circumstances, we won't be able to see it because it'll be too close to the Sun and within the solar glare. But before that period, from late April into mid-May, we are hoping from the northern hemisphere that this object will be bright enough to become visible with the naked eye. And if so, this could be the brightest comet for a long time, possibly since, well, Pan-STARRS would be the last bright comet. But this one's just superseded, I hope. How bright is this comet going to get? Nobody knows for sure. There's some crazy charts out there, or light charts, light curves. The worst case scenario from the BAA predictions is that this comet becomes second magnitude at perihelion, which means that before it reaches in, we might see it fifth magnitude or fourth magnitude. But if the comet is on the brighter trend, and current observations indicate it is on track, it potentially could reach magnitude -10 or more. That's about the equivalent of a first quarter moon or brighter, or a gibbous moon, if it supersedes the wildest predictions. If that's the case, this comet should be a naked eye object in the twilight sky from the northern hemisphere in May, and might put on a show. That's a bold statement. The comet could disintegrate, it could fizzle out, its rate of brightening, it could slow down, it could disappoint, it could be a damp squib, and these things happen with comets. But this comet definitely differs from others in the respect that it's been around the solar system before several times, so it's reliable, it's reacting frantically to solar heating at the minute. It has a good history, it looks to be strong, the nucleus looks intact so far, and signs are encouraging we could get a good object. So I'm quite excited by this. I'm wondering, dare I say, it's been a long time since I've seen a great comet. I love comets, I love great comets. Hale-Bopp was my first great comet in 1997. In fact, accidentally seeing that comet one morning before dawn from the dark countryside outside Mahara years ago was what triggered my interest in the night sky and astronomy, and in particular in comets. Ever since then, I've observed every comet which comes my way through this telescope and other instruments I've had. I've always dreamed of seeing another naked eye. Well, I've seen naked eye comets, but I've dreamed of seeing another great comet. Unfortunately, McKenna in 2007 was best seen from the southern hemisphere. It was one of the greatest comets in recent times, an absolutely stunning object. If you don't know what I'm talking about, type in Great Comet McKenna into Google, check out some of those images from the southern hemisphere. Stupendous. Huge peacock tail curving across 50, 60, 70 degrees of sky, with Venus in the frame and even a crescent moon. Gigantic bright comet with incredible synchronic bands in the structure, or within the tail. That was a mighty sight, and it was so disappointing for me, because even though I seen it from the northern hemisphere, it was a shadow of its former self. I got to see it in daylight several times before it went into the solar glare, but when it went into the southern hemisphere, it put on the best show of all, so we missed out on that unbelievable show. I've always wondered since then, will I ever get to see a proper comet? So my hopes are on Atlas. It's exciting. Even if it turns out to be a disappointment, it's still exciting because it's something that's happening in the sky now. It's something that wasn't there before. It's something of interest, and despite what it does, we should use this time to observe it through telescopes and binoculars with our eyes, and document its evolution as it gets closer to the sun. Photograph it, do whatever it is you do, and enjoy it. With a bit of luck, it'll put on a show, it won't let us down, and you'll get to hear about it in social media circles eventually. But anyway, so this is my old favourite 8-inch. When I say 8-inch, I'm referring to the aperture of the telescope. Telescopes are referred to by aperture. When it comes to telescopes, people make the mistake. People are, don't know the subject. They're going like, "How powerful is your telescope? That telescope must be so powerful. How far can you see? The moon must be amazing for it," and so forth. Or even pointed up at that bright star. I'd love to see that star up close. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that with telescopes. It's the same with cameras. It's not so much magnification or power, it's the light collecting ability of the telescope or your camera lens when it comes to low light performance. So when I say 8-inch aperture, I'm referring to the aperture of the telescope's lens or its mirror system. So with an 8-inch aperture telescope, I've already observed this comet. I can see comets to perhaps 11th magnitude or fainter, 11.5. With 50mm binoculars, you may pick up a 5th, 6th, 7th magnitude comet. But for anything fainter than 11th, 12th magnitude, you need to get larger optics. But it all comes down to light collecting ability. and a fast optical system. This telescope, they don't even make this telescope anymore. Meade, this is the old LX10 model. They've replaced it now with more sophisticated versions of this. But this is the old LX10. And the motor drive doesn't even work on it anymore. That's okay, I'm a visual observer. I like to move the telescope. I like to search myself. I don't like using computer technology. It has its place. The modern telescopes, there's a hand paddle with a database in it, maybe 186,000 objects, something along that line. You type in the object you want to see, say for example the Andromeda Galaxy M31. Type it in, the telescope will move across the sky using GPS coordinates and find the object for you. So in theory it should be in the eyepiece. That's fantastic for showcasing objects to the public, for astrophotography, that kind of thing, educational purposes, or if you're in a rush. But I'm a believer in finding objects in the sky yourself, using star charts, and by star hopping from one star to another, or searching a region of sky. Searching is my tactic. For example, even at the minute with Comet Atlas, the other night when I was out, I went online, I looked at a chart, I seen its position on the chart in Ursa Major. I know the stars very well, so I know that region of sky. So I set the telescope in that area and I began a sweep. Below the area of the telescope where I suspect the comet is, and I'll sweep horizontally, carefully across strips of sky, raise the telescope up by 1 field of view or less, sweep back again slowly, and I'll repeat this procedure over and over as I climb an altitude across the sky into the region where the comet is located. And all being well, if I'm suitably dark adapted and concentrating, then I should be able to find the comet easily that way. That's my tactic. I don't even have a finder scope. I really need one. It's been lost for years. I don't even have a reflex sight, so I'm literally just pointing the telescope by eye, by lining the tube up with the approximate area and then searching. That's my way of doing things. It's a lot more rewarding because you never know what you're going to see along the way. Anyway, now we're on the subject of the sky. I just would like to say, if you keep an eye out these evenings, the moon has now left the evening sky. It's visible before dawn, so in the evening sky we now have dark skies. This is a great time to observe a rare phenomenon called the zodiacal light. If you have a dark location, look west after sunset, between twilight and astronomical darkness. And if your sight's good enough, you should be able to see a wedge of light coming up from the horizon, slanted at an angle along the ecliptic plane where planet Venus is. You'll see this glow brighter than the rest of the sky. That's called the zodiacal light. It's also visible before dawn. In fact, the name zodiacal light means false dawn because people in the past have confused it for the early dawn, rising when it wasn't. So that's where the name comes from. But it looks beautiful these evenings. I've had several friends out photographing it there recently. It comes up fantastic on a DSLR with a wide angle fast lens and high ISOs. I'm hoping, the forecast is showing hints of clear skies coming in the next couple of nights. I'm hoping to get photographing it myself and observing it again, and more importantly I'm hoping to get seeing Comet Atlas over the next few nights and tracking its progress. So that's pretty much it. Just want to give you a quick update on things there, and if you're a fan of my YouTube channel, don't worry, it's not all about astronomy or storms. If you're not into that kind of thing, I have another ship chasing video on the way, and I have my eye on another one later this week. Fingers crossed with the weather and tide times I'll be able to get it and you'll see it on my channel. So thanks everyone for watching. If you like these kind of videos, you like these updates with the astro stuff in the sky, let me know. I'll do more of this kind of stuff. But anyway, hope you're all keeping well and keeping safe, and despite all the negative news at the minute about certain things, you know what I'm talking about, I won't even mention it. Try to use this time to get associated with nature, get your nature fix and fresh air, and stay positive, and hopefully everything blows over. So thank you very much for watching.